think I should tell us. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in and joining us. That was amazing. Could not have anticipated to go any better than it does. Thank you. Tonight we've got another St. Edward's peer of mine that I've been eager to have her share her work with me and all of us. Jessica Wolford is a visual artist and creative writing student in her very last semester at St. Edward's University. Her inspirations include the natural world and an overwhelming urge to describe the unknown. She currently lives here in town, waiting for the wildflowers to grow.
For real.
Please welcome Jessica to the stage, guys.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, okay. How to try and help us?
No, you're fine. Hi, I just want to say thanks for having me. I'm really excited to share everything with you guys. I have some shorter poems at first, and then I have some nature essays at the end that I'll be reading. This one's called Measuring. Measuring. You are trying to remember what it felt like to know nothing, except the carnal promises you were born with. It must have been nice to not know the world as a farce waiting to be broken, or to not know what it means when someone calls you a whore, or follows you home, or takes up the space on the train, the space that is supposed to be inhabited by your body, and your body alone. To never know the stinging sear of rejection, or the fear and the calm when you finally reach the eye of the storm, that it is just the middle, and there is an entirely different side. And the mystical unknown has always been the most frightening night with the thickest fog. It has been there longer than all the parts you can see, like when you saw the fireflies and you stretched out your arms so far they disappeared into the dark and you could not find your limbs. We eat your hate. We eat your hate like love. How does it feel? It feels blind. This one's called Vexation. Vexation. You are the length of a finger, my rule of thumb. Uppercut to the pious, the unbridled truth that I speak. The trash that is left behind after the funeral. The bright dissipating screen that makes it hard to fall asleep. Wrapped in the safety of cumulonimbus covers. You are near the edge of the yard, wedged in the crevice, an omnipresent ghost waiting on the porch for me to get home. Incubation. A seated mother cradling a moon-faced child, her slender arms an infinitive around his skull. Face of a newly sprouted seed, face of a balancing calf, face of an impending future, face of an overcast coast. The child has finally given in to the density of his breath. He sleeps in her arms, and his mother's shoulders sink into relief. Sigh of an angelic beacon, sigh of 1,000 heavy nights, sigh of a weighted clock, sigh of a weeping screen door. Winter interim. This winter, the nights are shorter than this train car is long. The gentle lull of the electrified third rail rocks passengers back and forth on their haunches in unison. As the train slows down to enter each station, the steady clack of motion becomes still and keeps them from sleeping. The red and white and black speckled floor, designed by a contractor hired by the MTA, becomes smeared with a unique spackle that is only created by the process of snowy boulevards receiving a healthy sprinkling of salt. It is daunting, waiting for an axis to turn the seasons and faces into sunny dispositions, and waiting for wind-burned cheeks, chapped and raw, to become freckled. Waiting, waiting, waiting. The man with the salt and pepper hair waits patiently with gloved hands, clasped, seated on blue plastic, black bodega bags for snowshoes, rocking on his haunches. This one's called 1-800-FREEDOM. Past the signs with the red and blinking triple X's. Past the billboard that reads, if you need a divorce, dial 1-800-FREEDOM. Past the clear, scuffed plastic booths and the blue lights at the megaplex, on the bottom shelf, in a brown paper bag, lies the path to a woman's freedom. This one I wrote yesterday, so I haven't read it to anyone at all. I guess we'll see how it goes. It's called Shining Force. We race toward the North Star, but cannot find Jesus, if that is his name. As we walk along the beach, it is hard for me to remember how I even met you. Was it in a daydream? Perhaps it was a transcendental plane when I first noticed your shining force. Buckets of glory dump from my eyes, but I cannot find your way. The mushrooms we choked down before we boarded the ferry make a rainbow, an oil-slicked smear out of your face. I rely on your weight to guide me through the shapeless night, a flatness in the density of the dark. An atrocious moon cannot cast a large enough shadow for the beams to support our weight. A rotten beach town, a rundown bar, and all the whiskey we can drink. I'm not sure how we found this, or if it has always been here, or where it will go when we are gone, but I am home. There are enough gulps left by the end of the night so we can both have a taste. The artificial sweet river of brown fuel slows the burn. We set a coconut on fire in hopes that it will burn through the night. A phoenix in the sand, I cradle it instead of you because I need the sustenance. We pass out on the beach somewhere off the coast of the big island, cadavers choking on salinity. A mouth full of sand and the slap of the morning sun awakens me and says, the stars haunt you. Do not chase a picture in the heavens. It is like his eyes. Okay, so these are two nature essays. I might only have time to read one. I'm not sure where I am. Do I have time for two? Irreversible Tide. Los Angeles is a desolate oasis. The smog casts a halo and enacts an effervescence. A glow surrounds the city and gives life to the harm. It has endured. If you look down onto Hollywood from the hills, it is like your eyes were born to diffuse the light. In a sea of cars on the 101, palm trees sprout from seemingly nowhere, creeping restlessly. They sway to the grimace of a gentle gust, the bending of a joint, serenity in a carefully constructed gridlock. They high-five the endless sky dressed in blue, a refreshing lushness in the concrete overpasses and the chain link with its diamond eyes. The beach in Southern California is a heinous homage to this negligence. Human beings remain unaware of their impact, but the native creatures and elements of the natural landscape learn to adapt. Umbrellas mock the sand. They dig into the microscopic bits of glittery rock and stand tall. Red coolers and plastic cups adorn the shore, a sign of the good times. Piles of manufactured clothing flung from human bodies lay in clumps, natural formations in themselves. The water and its movement construct evidence of such a delicate intermingling. Natural and manufactured elements meld into the fluid motion of nature's process and wash onto the shore. Whiskers of moisture in the sand mark this path. The tidal force can be similar to that of the human hand, tying knots, bending curves, and creating sculptures, making art of it all, the decadence of progression. Okay, this is the last one. It's called Purposeful Rising. Stopping to pause on a high peak or a space in the greenery, a visitor can witness the unwavering splendor of rolling hills, which strive to reach the ends of existence, a hypnosis of effort and suspense, a purposeful rising and lowering of natural mounds. Trees glued to hillsides appear tactful in their placement and cling unwillingly. This mixed forest of various species contains diverse plant life. Each individual flora strives for the light. Imperfectly transparent spires, vines, leaves, and branches reach, arms outstretched, worshiping a radiant force growing. The snakeberry is a delicate perennial that finds a home between the evergreens. This hardy and drought-tolerant species presents hand-sized clusters of poignant red berries, a gift to its mother ecosystem. Scarlet orbs droop from between green foliage. The undersides of these leaves are fed with a thin vein. These veins are carpeted with a layer of pristine white hairs. When administered in a small dose to a worthy cause, the effects of this plant's fruit can be lethal to humans. Small animals and birds feed off the berries with an absence of discomfort. Cattle and sheep grave the unsavory, rocky soil, but succeed in finding sustenance in the arms of the snakeberry bramble. The lily of the valley grows along the forest floor and produces a perplexing root system that only becomes more complex with the passage of time. The plant sips light from ground level and shows triumphant force as it incubates a small colony of offspring, spreading seeds underground. Above the pregnant subterranean, a demonstrated fragility keeps the lily's small white petals clinging together in the breeze of the incoming darker season. The lily of the valley grows and progresses through deception, a founding into an underground enterprise. The physical realm of the forest, the minuscule aspects of life, the untouched processes, the misguided and halted is not the work of God. It is simply the result of exploratory practice, trials and tribulations untouched by the human debacle.
Thank you.